Sorrento. We've extended the wheelbase, creating a gold-class, invite-only setting for up to 7 people. Gave it our brand new, powerful surround sound and high-definition screens. Added ergonomically contoured armrests with cup holders, plus one-touch button access to the back row, turning every ride into a cinematic experience. Now, just add popcorn.
Yeah.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
The city of Szombathely in the far west of Hungary hosts the FIG World Challenge Cup at the start of World Championship month. Later this month, the gymnasts will descend upon the city of Liverpool and the chance for World Championship glory. This a crucial preparation process for many gymnasts who will be competing later on at the World Championships. We start with the women's beam final. Mirtel Makovic of Hungary, the 8th strongest in qualification. Lai Pingju of Chinese Taipei, who's been a continental balance beam medalist. Canada's Sydney Turner, the top qualifier, and she won an uneven bars medal yesterday. Greta Moya of Hungary, very good balance beam competitor at national level. And Barbara Mokoshova of Slovakia, 3rd strongest in qualification, another national champion on this apparatus. Ada Hautala of Finland, the 4th strongest in qualification, very well known as a junior for balance beam. Maisa Kutsako, her teammate, the 16-year-old from Tampere, balance beam national champion. And Lucia Trinkova of Czech Republic, who has made World Cup finals on the balance beam. The men's vault final sees Dmitry Patnin of Kazakhstan as the 3rd strongest in qualification. He was a finalist at the Asian Championships. Ye Cheng of Chinese Taipei makes his senior international debut. Pavel Gulidov of Israel, the 8th strongest in qualification. He's made vault finals at World Cup level. Veteran vaulter Dimitar Dimitrov of Bulgaria, 25-year-old, has been European Championship finalist on vault. Zheng Weisheng of Chinese Taipei was in the team that won bronze at the Asian Championships earlier this year. Leandre Sauvé of Canada, the 2nd strongest in qualification, made it to the Copair World Challenge Cup vault final. Artem Dolgopian of Israel is the top performer in qualification, the Olympic champion on floor. Salim Naguj of Jordan will be the last to go. This is his 10th appearance in a World Cup final. He is yet to win a medal, but he's got very close on a number of occasions. Ollie Hogben here, and it's a great pleasure to have your company for this, the final day of competition in Szombathely. It comes from the Hungarian for Szombat Saturday in Hely Place. Refers to the fact that this used to be a great market town. The Saturday place. Well, now it's Sunday, the day after the market, but there's still a lot of precious commodities to be taken away at the Arena Savaria. Savaria, the name ultimately that comes from the river that runs through this city. Soon it will be time to chart a course for Liverpool, and we'll be heading from the Savaria to the Mersey and the World Championships. So warm-up time for the first 4 in both the men's vault and women's balance beam finals, using the relatively newly adopted touch warm-up system, which has been very well received by the gymnasts, who were active in ensuring that this change was made to how competitions operate. It gives the athletes just a little contact time after the general warm-up, which takes place before the start of competition. And it's a very good thing, because it might be that you are participating in only one apparatus final. Imagine that you're in the men's horizontal bar final and you're the last up. Well, you do need that little touch warm-up time just to make sure you're going really fresh into the final itself. And there's a difference between warming up in the arena and warming up in the warm-up gym. The start list for the balance beam final and the top performer in qualification. The impressive Sydney Turner of Canada, the 17-year-old from British Columbia, won the medal on the uneven bars yesterday. It was a silver on that occasion. Can she make it gold as the top qualifier here in this beam competition? And there she is now, warming up. The finalists for the men's vault competition in Szombathely. Top performer in the preliminary round will be the penultimate gymnast to go, Artem Dolgopiat of Israel. He was fourth on floor and fourth on pommel horse yesterday. Certainly the favourite for this, though. If you look at the qualification numbers, he has a good few tenths to spare over the second best performer, and that was the Canadian Leandre Sauvé.
The warm-up time on the beam is over.
Warm-ups concluded and time to begin the men's vault and women's balance beam finals. We start with Myrtle Makovits of Hungary. 8th strongest in qualification. And just a little offline in that mount, unfortunately. Her score in the preliminary round was 12.066. Well performed acrobatic sequence. Well stabilised on the dismount after she looks as though she might be heading for a more complicated landing. Was quickly arrested by Myrtle Makovits. A good display. It's unfortunate that she struggled with the mount. Let's have a look back at this performance. Stable pirouette.
Itt pedig egy arábel, melyet trikkel kötött férfihez szépen kivitelezve. Japán szaltó.
It's a good line, the 18-year-old for the most part. This dismount, just twisting round, not a hugely complicated dismount. Definitely scored 4.5 in qualification.
Az első versenyző ugráson on the vault. Dmitry
Patanin of Kazakhstan will get this vault final underway. He made the Asian Championship vault final in Doha earlier this year. Posted 2 5.2 difficulty vaults in qualification. And he starts with the Roche vault. He's very low on his landing, but he did manage to avoid sitting down or putting a hand down.
A kazahsztán versenyzőt tegnap már a talajdöntőben is láthattuk.
22-year-old.
Itt az első
Made his
ugrás
first World Cup
gyors,
final yesterday.
ugrás volt, ami egy kézen átfordulásból indított 2,5 szaltó előre zsugor testhelyzetben. Nagyon nagy értékű ugrás.
$11.3 for little Makovits. And when you consider the full mark that she lost for the mount, actually that was, besides that, a far better performance than yesterday where she scored just in excess of 12. So the execution outside of that was very strong. 14.366 for the first vault for Pattinin. Very similar to qualification. This is where he's got room to move up, and he was the third strongest in the preliminary round, so get this second one right and we could be looking at a potential medalist. But his execution was 8.85 in qualification with a 0.1 penalty. See if he judges his line better on this occasion. Well, no, unfortunately, he didn't quite get there.
A második ugrás is egy rendkívül nehéz, Szukahara indítású 2,5 csavar volt. Lépett ki tökéletesen.
Using the Kasamatsu style of vault.
A versenyző korábban az Ázsia bajnokságon már talajon és ugráson is szerepelt a döntőben, ugráson helyet is elért már.
So quite a common combination of vaults from Dmitry Pattinin with the 5.2 difficulty score for both. And he scores 12.766 with a 13.566 overall score. Also a 0.3 penalty for Pattinin for being so out of bounds. Lai Pingju of Chinese Taipei, 20-year-old who's competed at 3 World Championships, and she was a bronze medalist on the beam at the Asian Championships 5 years ago. Very experienced gymnast on this apparatus. She was the 5th best in qualification. This is not a hugely difficult routine, but it can be beautifully executed. If she gets this right, it's very enjoyable to watch. A look of relief as that went rather well. Those of you who watch the Asian Championships will be used to seeing her in balance beam finals because she made this year's one as well. Walkover was very secure looking. Side Somi with minimal need to restabilise. Good dismount. Nice routine from Lai Pingju of Chinese Taipei. Certainly, if you produce that sort of display early on in a balance beam final, then you've put yourself into the conversation because of the many variables that can come on this apparatus. Form wasn't enormously tidy in the air, but the line was good. And really, on the whole, her judgment of angle was strong. Again, a slight imprecision in the leg form as she twists around, but she lands it well. A lot that went well in that routine.
The next competitor on the board, Ye Cheng, Chinese Taipei.
Do ignore the vault indicator behind. That's been saying that same number since about the second competitor in the women's vault final yesterday. Here is Ye Cheng of Chinese Taipei. So that was his Kasamatsu 1.5. Very common as a second vault in a lot of World Cup competitions. 20-year-old will take penalty tenths for transgressing outside of the lines. Let's have a look back at it again. His form in the air actually is quite nice. As he lands, his leg position, as I'm sure you can see, is just not at all as it needs to be. Very compressed. That's a good score of 12.6 for Lai Pinju of Chinese Taipei. She's up 2/10 from qualification. It certainly looked a more securely executed routine. You just never know. That could get her into a podium position. 13.766 for the first vault from Ye Cheng. He was down by about 4/10 from qualification. Now to his second vault. This was only a 4 difficulty in the preliminary round. Again, it was executed better than better than the first vault, I should say, as was the case in qualification. He had a 9.4 for execution in qualifying. Not sure that he'll reach quite that here with the hop backwards. Just a single twist in the air, so a much lower difficulty score. Senior international debut though for this young man. He competes at the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires. We've got a few Youth Olympians here today, including Adam Tobin of Great Britain. 13.2 for the second vault, so 13.483. His execution, I did say that it probably wouldn't quite be as high as qualification. It was 9.2 versus 9.4. Now to a real standout performer from yesterday, Sydney Turner of Canada. Silver medalist on the uneven bars, really assured performance, very good sense of swing. What about on the balance beam? She was the top qualifier with 13.4. It's quite a difficult routine. This was the most difficult of any of the qualifiers by a whole 4/10 over the second most difficult. You can see, can't you, why the NCAA fans of the University of Iowa are very excited about her arrival. We've got eyes like hawks at that place. They're a good gymnast when they see one. You know, that really is good work from Sydney Turner of Canada, the 17-year-old from New Westminster in British Columbia. Her qualification score was so high by comparison to the rest of the pack that there's the opportunity for her to lose a few tenths and still really be a good contender for the gold here. She's very assured on the apparatus. She arrested that little sideways move quickly. Didn't lose a great deal for it.
And the next on the vault, Pavel Gulidov, Israel.
Back to the vault, and Israel's Pavel Gulidov, 23-year-old who lives in Tel Aviv. Lovely city that is on the Mediterranean coast. It hosted the Rhythmic Gymnastics European Championships in June. He made his World Championship debut last year. 8th strongest in qualification. Starts with a roche and similar issues, unfortunately, as in qualification. He had 7.95 execution in the preliminary round. It's going to be a similar sort of issue. He over-rotated this quite substantially. Sydney Turner 12.833. Well, that's, as I mentioned, she had such a margin of lead after qualification that she had the opportunity to lose a little. As we see 13.233 coming for Pavel Gulidov. But Turner has lost a little, but still that score better than anything we saw in qualification. Gulidov is up by almost a couple of tenths in qualification on that first vault, but not really where he needed to be to get into contention. His Kasamatsu work is more secure. We don't anticipate seeing any Kasamatsu doubles in this final. Pavel Gulidov really needed a big score with the first one compared to qualification to get into the discussion. His execution 8.933 for the second vault, so 13.683 overall. He does go into the lead, but we have still got the first, second, fourth and fifth in qualification to come. Now to Greta Moya of Hungary. Second strongest in qualification. Very nice gymnast on this apparatus, mounts with confidence. Now, has Sydney Turner left the door open sufficiently for Greta Moya? Quite stable in the wolf turns. It's going well. Height and very delicate landing too. Lovely form, really well executed. That's good elevation as she leaves the apparatus. This is certainly a contending display from Greta Moya. Can she really minimise deductions on this dismount? Yes, she can. That's very good work. Hungary's Greta Moya chasing a place on the podium after a good display in the vault final yesterday. She is really accomplished on this apparatus. Let's have a look back at Greta Moya's performance. The mount was really well judged, nice line. Wolf turns, the x-axis is really good. Quite stable looking. No adjustment at all. Double tuck position to dismount.
On the fourth, Dimitar Dimitrov,
Bulgaria's Dimitar Dimitrov. Fifth strongest in qualification, the 25-year-old from the foothills of the Rila Mountains in southwest Bulgaria. His only international medal has come on vault at a World Challenge Cup event in Turkey in 2018. He's twice been a European Championship finalist. And he takes a little series of stumbles backwards out of his Kasamatsu 1.5. Just started to lose the form a fraction as he's coming out of the twist position. The legs just begin to crumple in the air slightly. He's landing a touch on the compressed side. 12.733 for Greta Moy, exactly as she produced in qualification. A 10th behind Sydney Turner, who's managed to hold on, and that's one of the major challenges. .833 for the first vault for Dimitar Dimitrov, the 0.1 penalty for straying out of bounds after the landing. So he's down by about 4/10 from the qualification score for that vault. Second vault was a 4.8 difficulty in qualifying, so giving away about 4/10 compared to most. Uses the double twisting Yurchenko vault and lands it in installments, just holds that.
And now the second four gymnasts may start the warm-up on the apparatus.
It was very nicely executed. He'll just take a little off his execution score because of this adjusted landing there. He goes really into the pike position and manages to stabilise it. We are at the halfway point now in the women's vault, or men's vault I should say, and women's balance beam finals. So the next set of competitors warming up. The gentleman you've just seen there, Tseng Wei Sheng, certainly has a chance to take this title, and I'll explain why in a moment.
A bulgár versenyző pontszáma
13.899 for Dimitar Dimitrov, a 9.166 execution for his double twisting Yurchenko. He goes into the gold medal position. So we have a new leader. Gymnast from Finland will compete in this beam final. Ada Hautala and Maisa Kuusiko. Kuusiko, who we're looking at now, the reigning national champion 2 years in a row. Very nice gymnasts. It's great to see the development in Finnish gymnastics over the last little while. And we're having a look here at Salim Naguj. Young man from Amman in Jordan. His fellow countryman Ahmad Abu Al Soud had some struggles in the pommel horse final yesterday. And this is Lucia Trinkova of Czech Republic. But yes, he's an interesting one to watch, Tseng Wei Sheng, because his difficulty in qualification was impressive.
Barbara Mokosova, Slovakia.
Barbara Mokosova of Slovakia will now compete on the balance beam. The 25-year-old from beautiful Bratislava, European Championship bronze medalist on the uneven bars in 2020. But very fine on this apparatus. Just looked a little offline and had to stabilise it. She's such a hard-working gymnast. I always think you can tell when Barbara Mokosheva is on the balance beam that she is an accomplished snowboarder, because she's got an ability to just arrest little balance issues every now and then with the sort of fluidity that somebody who's used to working on snow can do. Uses again a skill to dismount Barbara Mokosheva of Slovakia. Well, it'll be interesting to see whether she can push up towards Lai Pingju's score of 12.6. In qualification, she produced 12.533 display, so it could be rather close, this. She didn't really have to steady herself a great deal. Really just the odd moment here and there. For the most part, this was really well judged. Now, what are we going to see from this gentleman? Zheng Weisheng of Chinese Taipei. He had a 5.6 difficulty vault in the preliminary round with a 14.5 score, and it was the only 5.6 difficulty vault from any of the gymnasts who qualified for this final. So he could have some margin for error. Well, that is a really nice piece of vaulting from Zheng Weisheng of Chinese Taipei. His pike position is maybe a little loose in the air. That's one of the only things to say about it. A little bend of the knees. It's not enormously wide, but his line is very good. His landing is good. It's a nice piece of vaulting. 12.3 for Barbara Mokosheva. She's just out of contention. Thought it might be close. 3/10 between her and Lai Pingju. Still some good contenders to come. So there we go. 14.766 for the first vault. That's up by almost 3/10 from qualification. Now the second vault was an 8.75 for execution in qualification. If he can just pull this up a fraction, we've really got somebody who's going to challenge. And that is well done. He knows it too. His roche was so powerful, he was almost a fraction over-rotated. But Zheng Weisheng of Chinese Taipei has got to be a real contender now to take this title with that 5.6 difficulty score for the first vault. Powerful roche. Handspring double front in the tuck position. Yes, he knew it right afterwards. I mean, it's obviously going to go handsomely into the lead. There's no doubt about that. It's just how far it goes into the lead. top qualification score was 14.6. 14.599. There we go. Zheng Weisheng with a 9.233 execution score. Now what he has done is take 2 sub-9 vaults in execution and make them 9+ vaults in the final. That's a very good jump up of almost half a mark. Now to Ada Hautala of Finland, 4th strongest in qualification. She needs a pickup of her score of over a 10th to get onto the podium, and it might be a challenge. Just a few adjustments here and there. That's secure looking from Finland's Ada Hautala. She was best known, wasn't she, really, for her work on the balance beam as a junior. I know so many gymnastics fans out there were incredibly excited when she started to come through the junior competitions and we saw the quality of her balance beam work, but she's now become a very accomplished all-around gymnast. Competed at her 3rd Senior European Championships in Munich. I look back at the performance of Ada Hautala. That was where she had some issues at the start. Very nearly came off the apparatus and did well to hold it. Now, can she pull beyond that 7.5 execution score? The second lowest of any of the qualifiers for execution, but with quite a high difficulty. 12.6 holds bronze at the moment. That's Lai Pin-ju.
On the board, Leandre Sauve, Canada.
Leandre Sauve of Canada, a teenager from Laval in Quebec. Did very well to finish 6th on vault in Copair. He said that it really exceeded his expectations after a very tough year. He's the 2nd strongest qualifier for this final. Well, that was lovely. What a beautiful vault from Leandre Sauve. Just delightful. Well, that's Kasamatsu vault with real airtime and beautiful form. His landing is very nice. One small step forward. His central line is beautifully established. But really, it's the time of flight he gets that's so impressive. 11.566 for Ada Hautala. Her execution, 6.566, down almost a mark from qualification. All of those little adjustments here and there regrettably contributing. This should be a high number, though, for Sauve. That's an excellent score, 14.666. Now, he's up by over 3/10 from qualification. A lot rests now after the Kasamatsu 1.5 on the second vault, where his execution was just below 9 in the preliminary round. So, chance to really get into contention and get into the medals. Well, he has performed that well, very well. He'll take a 1/10 penalty, certainly.
Fiatal versenyző idén mutatkozott be a világkupa sorozatban, már többször szerepelt az ugráson döntőben is.
Well, this is some nice vaulting, very nice vaulting from Leandro Sauvé.
This is a reminder. Katie, it's time for you to get Ralph a beer.
Why did you not tell me about him?
You up in my post?
It's different.
What is?
Being married.
I ain't know you were doing it right.
There's no rule book, is there?
My hero.
Ralph and Katie, stream free on SBS On Demand.
Már is látjuk a pontszámot.
14.416. He's made it onto the podium as things stand. He looks absolutely thrilled, the 19-year-old. He should be thrilled. It was excellent vaulting. Maisa Kuusiko of Finland, penultimate gymnast in this women's balance beam final. Sixth strongest in qualification, 12.266. Stable from Maisa Kuusiko of Finland, 16-year-old from Tampere who was just outside the top 10 in the all-around competition at the European Championships just a couple of months ago.
Hatodikként került be a szer döntőjébe. Itt ő 3 akrobatikus elemet köt össze, flick, szuplé, szuplé. Ezért egy plusz 10 is jár neki. Ez a bugoló forgás,
well stabilized wolf turns.
Végezel. És a leugrás rundel szuplé másfél csavar. And the next competitor on the board,
now we have the top performer in qualification. This is going to be an interesting portion of this vault final because Artem Dolgopiat produced 2 5.2 difficulty vaults in the preliminary round. Zheng Wei Sheng, we've already seen, has 4/10 on that. Dolgopiat's qualification score 14.6. The leading score at the moment 14.599, so we could be counting hundreds. Let's have a look at this first vault from Artem Dolgopiat. And he's out of contention now, no doubt. Didn't get the roche at all right.
Artem is a Roche nevű ugrás kísérelte meg bemutatni.
It's interesting, isn't it? Leandro Sauvé doesn't have this vault in his arsenal. He actually uses the shoe felt as his first vault, which I think I So it was the Kasamatsu 1.5. Initially, that was the second vault, of course. 12.866 for Maisa Kusiko. She goes into the lead. It really was such an assured performance. Look at the execution score, 7.966. Artem Dolgopiat scores 12.9 for his first vault. Well, he's much more secure with the second. Much more secure. So that was his version of the Kasamatsu 1.5.
Artem a tokiói olimpián talajon az első helyet szerezte meg, és a Müncheni Európa-bajnokságon idén is talajon tudott győzni.
Again, a touch compressed on his landing. So certainly execution-wise, not as strong as the qualification score one imagines.
And the last competitor in the beam final, Lucia Trinkova, Czech Republic.
Lucia Trinkova of Czech Republic, the last gymnast to go in the beam final. 7th best in qualification. At the moment it is 12.733 for a place on the podium. The 17-year-old has a real elegant style on the balance beam. She dismounts well. Lucia Trinkova of Czech Republic to conclude this balance beam final. Currently has Greta Moyer occupying bronze with 12.733. Sydney Turner a tenth above that, and Maisa Kusiko less than a tenth above that. Very close.
Gerendán már második tudott lenni, és Gerendán és talajon is szerepelt már döntőben. Ő is guggolóforgást mutatott be. A leugrása pedig egy
The
egész
dismount was
csavar
among the
erő.
most secure that we've seen so far.
Artem Dolgopiat pontszáma
So it's 13.5 for Artem Dolgopiat in 6th position, a 14.1 for his second vault. So once again he misses out on a medal. It's very unusual that happens when he's at a World Challenge Cup event. At the moment in the men's vault competition, it is Zheng Wei Sheng of Chinese Taipei who leads. Difference being that lovely Tsukahara double pike that he started with, that 5.6 difficulty vault that
in the men's vault final, Salim
vaulters
Nagouri,
like Adam Asil
Jordania.
use. Igor Radivilov, I'm sure you remember over the years using that vault as well, the Lu vault. The last gymnast in this men's vault competition, Salim Nagouj of Jordan. 6th strongest in qualification. That's a good beginning. Well done to him. What a nice first vault. 8.8 execution score in qualification with a 0.1 penalty. He's going to make a mockery out of that. So this is his Kasamatsu 1.5. Very tidy. .433 for Lucia Trinkova, 5th position. She's up 2/10 from qualification. Good effort. Just missing out on a place on the podium, but moving up 2 positions. Now he'll move up certainly after this first vault. 14.5. That is a gain of 6/10 of a mark for Salim Nagouj. Now, his second vault in qualification was 4.8. So he needs a really tidy piece of vaulting here to try to get onto the podium. It's a double twisting Yurchenko vault. It's well executed. And that is a fine final from a gentleman who's appearing in his 10th last 8 stage at the World Cup circuit. He's yet to win a medal. So that's the double twisting Yurchenko, the vault we saw from Leandre Sauvé, who is one of the top performers so far, in 2nd position, had that extra half twist to make it the Schufelt vault, adding 4/10 of difficulty. Oh, he's done it! Salim Nagouj just got himself a medal. 14.2, a bronze at the 10th time of asking in World Cup competition for the Jordanian. Congratulations to him. That will mean so much to young Salim Nagouj. And we'll bring you the classified results in both the men's vault and women's balance beam finals in just a moment. The final standings in the women's balance beam competition: the bronze medal to Hungary's Greta Moyer, silver to Sydney Turner of Canada, her 2nd of the weekend after Moyer gets back on the podium once more, and Maisa Kusiko of Finland wins the title.
Kedves nézőink, most, hogy önök is láthatták az eredményt, örömmel mondhatom, hogy Mayer Gréta 3. helyen végzett a gerenda döntőjében. Gratulálunk, Gréti!
The classified results in the men's vault competition: the bronze medal to Salim Nagouj of Jordan, silver to Leandre Sauvé of Canada, and the gold medal to Tseng Weisheng of Chinese Taipei. We'll have the victory ceremonies for both the men's vault and women's balance beam competitions in just a moment or two, and then the action will continue with the men's parallel bars and the women's floor finals, so don't go too far away.
Ünnepélyes eredményhirdetés következik, awarding ceremony of the Women's Balance Beam Final. Az érmek átadására felkérem, medals will be presented by Mr. Sándor Altorjai, Secretary General of the Hungarian Gymnastics Federation. A gerenda döntőjében harmadik, on the third place, 12,733 ezred ponttal, Mayer Gréta, Magyarország.
The bronze medal in the women's balance beam competition to Greta Moyer of Hungary.
Második helyen végzett, on the second place, 12,833 ezred ponttal, Sydney Turner, Kanada.
The silver medal to Sydney Turner of Canada. What an excellent first World Cup it has been for her.
És első lett, on the first place, 12,866 ezred ponttal, Maisa Kuusiko, Finnország.
But the title won by Maisa Kuusiko of Finland. She jumped up 6/10 from qualification and she secures her first ever World Cup title. We have the national anthem of Finland now. A first ever triumph at World Cup level for Maisa Kuusiko of Finland. And there they are, the medalists in the women's balance beam competition at the Arena Savaria in Szombathely.
Congratulations. Férfi ugrás döntőinek eredményét hirdetem. Awarding ceremony of the men's vault final. Az érmek átadására felkérem, medals will be presented
And now
by
the victory
Mr.
ceremony for the men's vault
member
competition.
of the men's technical committee of the FIG. Férfi ugrás döntőben harmadik helyen végzett, on the third place, 14,2 ponttal, Nagouj Salim, Jordánia.
Salim Nagouj of Jordan. First ever international honours for the 21-year-old.
Második lett, on the second place, 14,416 ezred ponttal, Sauve Leandre, Canada.
And the same for Leandre Sauve of Canada. He was 6th in Koper. What a display in the final. Beautiful shoe felt, lovely Kasamatsu 1.5, lovely reward, silver medal. But the difficulty really paid off for Tseng Wei-sheng of Chinese Taipei. Opening with that Tsukahara double pike gave him a little room to manoeuvre at the top of the leaderboard. His execution of both vaults in the final, such high quality. He takes the title, and we now hear the anthem of Chinese Taipei.
Please stand up for the national anthem. Congratulations, gentlemen. Please stand together for the photo.
The medalists in the men's vault competition at the FIG World Challenge Cup in Szombathely, Hungary. All of them winning their first ever FIG World Cup medal. Fantastic podium. And so we move to the men's parallel bars and women's floor finals in just a moment or two. Nice moment though for Team Canada. Sydney Turner and Leandro Sauvé both winning silver medals, so they've got to make sure they get some photographs of that.
Bemutatom a női talajdöntő résztvevőit. Participants of the women's floor final.
It's time to begin the women's floor competition, and the first gymnast will be Paulina Campos of Mexico. All-around bronze medalist at the National Championships in May. She'll be joined by her teammate Natalia Escalera, vaulting specialist Aneta Holashova of Czech Republic, silver medalist on floor at the European Games in 2019. Levi Jung-Rivivar of the United States of America, third strongest in qualification. Keep an eye on her. Greta Moya of Hungary, the top performer in qualification. Ada Hautala of Finland, seventh strongest in the preliminary round. Caitlin Young of the United States of America, the second strongest in qualification with a very difficult routine. And Canada's Sydney Turner, who was fourth in the preliminary round. The men's parallel bars final will see Hung Yuan Si of Chinese Taipei get us underway. He was the eighth strongest in qualification. Hungary's own Christian Balázs, fifth best in the preliminary round. Tanabe Soichiro of Japan, third strongest in qualification, joined by his teammate Haruki Minori, the second best performer in qualifying. Great Britain's Adam Tobin, sixth best in qualification. And Ukraine's Ilya Kovtun, fourth best in qualifying, but the parallel bars World Cup champion this year overall. There's the top qualifier though, Tiano Diallo of Spain. And Pavel Karnayenko of Great Britain, the seventh strongest in qualification, will be the last to go.
Start the warm-up. Az első négy tornász megkezdheti a melegítést.
So warm-ups begin. The men's parallel bars and women's floor finals. Lovely juxtaposition of gymnastic styles that we'll get. And some very interesting floor routines coming up. Caitlin Young of the USA, very high degree of difficulty. In qualification, 5.6. We go all the way down to a 4.4 difficulty from Paulina Campos. Campos's execution was higher. The start list for the women's floor final, and Greta Moya of Hungary was the top performer in qualification with a score of 13.466. but Caitlin Yong of the USA produced the same number, but Moya won out on the execution tiebreak. Yong's difficulty is very high, and to her teammate as well, Levi Jung Rivivar, has got a very good routine. The start list for the men's parallel bars final. The top performer in qualification, Spain's Tierno Diallo, but the gymnast before him, Ilya Kovtun, despite being the fourth strongest in qualification, is the master of the parallel bars at World Cup level. And his execution score, 7.85, has real room to grow. His difficulty easily the highest in the preliminary round.
The warm-up time on the floor is over. And the first competitor on the floor, Paulina Campos, Mexico.
We begin this women's floor final with Paulina Campos of Mexico. Sixth strongest in qualification, the 22-year-old. Great to see Paulina Campos in this final. The Mexican is a very experienced gymnast on the international circuit. She's competed at the World Championships twice, the Pan American Games, the Central American and Caribbean Games. Her biggest international result, a silver medal on the beam at the Pacific Rim Championships. Double pike just required a fairly substantial step forwards. The twisting was accurate. It's got nice execution of the leaps, gets good height, brings the legs up towards horizontal.
És a befejező sor pedig egy kézen átfordulás, szuplé előre egész csavar.
4.4 difficulty score in qualification, the lowest of any of the qualifiers, but her execution was one of the stronger ones.
The first competitor in the men's parallel bar final, Hung Yuan-si, Chinese Taipei.
We head to Hung Yuan-si of Chinese Taipei to start the men's parallel bars final. The 21-year-old who competed at the Olympic Games. He was the gentleman that you may remember was called up 4 days before the Games after the injury to Yu Chao Wei. He was an undergraduate in international business at the Taipei University of Business. And he has been a parallel bars finalist at Asian Championship level. So this is very much one of his stronger pieces. He scored 13.35 in qualification, but this has room to really grow considering his difficulty. It's very nice. Oh, just had to reset coming out of that. Very nice looking Bavs up. Tippelt shows lots of strength. This is looking very promising. Oh, unfortunate. Nonetheless, it's a good display from Hong Yuan-si of Chinese Taipei. 7.45 execution in qualification. That's the lowest of all of the qualifiers, but a 5.9 difficulty.
Oz Design Furniture's Boxing Day sale is here. For 1 week only, save 25% off almost everything on a huge range of furniture and homewares. Sale on now, in-store and online at Oz Design Furniture. T's and C's apply.
8. helyen került be ide a fináléba. Makuc nevű mozdulatot
Makut's skill was sharp, but it was just coming out of the Makuts that he seemed to have to just reset his handstand position.
Ez pedig a leugrás, egy dupla előre szaltó. Zsugor helyzetben
Some big steps back,
megmentette a leérkezést.
coming out of the double tuck. Now, what about the score for Paulina Campos?
A mexikói versenyző
12.133, down by almost 2/10 from qualification.
a talajon.
Same difficulty.
És most honfitársa következik.
And she's supporting
On
her
the
teammate
floor,
who's about to go.
Natalia Escalera, Mexico.
Natalia Escalera of Mexico, 8th strongest in qualification, but with a 3/10 out of bounds penalty. If she removes that, she could push up into contention. A very interesting display from Natalia Escalera of Mexico.
Escalerát láthatták Mexikóból.
The gymnast who was a vault champion at the Pan American Championships last year, a silver medalist this year. She's also been a team medalist on 2 occasions.
Már ugráson is szerepelt döntőben.
Floor silver medalist at last year's national games as well, so she has got real pedigree on this apparatus.
első sora egy cukahara
It's good height.
duplaszaltó egész fordulattal. Ez pedig egy zsugor
Double
duplaszaltó.
tuck was nicely executed. A little leg bend in the double pipe.
Utolsó sornak pedig egy bicska duplaszaltót mutatott be.
$14.133 for Hung Yuan-si. So he is significantly up from qualification. 8.233 execution compared to 7.45. We did say that he had the potential to really move, and he's done that. Christian Balázs of Hungary. 5th strongest in qualification. He won a bronze medal on this event at the Baku World Cup earlier in the year. Just has to take some paces, setting into that handstand position. Good height though, well established straddle position. Travels well in his Bavzar too, gets a good distance down the apparatus. It's for the Tippelt, which has a real sense of fluidity to it. Lovely toe point as well. It's very elegant. Oh, that's really regrettable that he just crumples on the dismount in what was a very nice routine for the most part. Christian Balázs of Hungary.
Balázs Krisztián
They've had really good performances in the women's events.
gyakorlatát
The
láthatták.
Hungarian gymnasts, they've struggled to really make themselves known in the men's competitions. So they have got 2 gymnasts, including Christian Balázs, in the horizontal bar final. Gets good clearance there. Sense of amplitude.
Healy nevű mozdulatot láthattuk tőle. Ő is bemutatta a bábsát.
Presses from Manu into his
Ez pedig
dismount,
a
and it was never
leugrással
quite right.
előre szaltó.
Now, Natalia Escalera,
Natalia Escalera
that's
pontszáma
much more like it, isn't it? 12.733, 8.033 execution score. No penalty tent. She gains
on the floor.
well over
Aneta
half a mark from
Holashova,
qualification.
Csehország.
Now to Aneta Holashova of the Czech Republic, the silver medalist on floor at the European Games in Minsk. It really was a well-performed routine by Aneta Holešová of Czech Republic.
2019-ben az Európa játékokon Minskben a második helyet érte el itt a
She scored
talajdöntőben.
12.633 in qualification. Let's have a look back at the opening tumbling pass, double layout, just heads out of bounds for a single tenth.
Ez egy másfél csavar, amelyet egy előre bicskaszaltóval kötött a tornász. És itt egy
Again there it looks as though she's out once more. So that could be a little problematic. Good amplitude on her tumbling passes. Some nice choreography as well. That's what we've come to expect from Aneta Holešová floor routine. 13.3 for Christian Balázs.
Nem sokára találkozhatunk vele a nyújtó döntőjében is. And the next on the parallel bars, Tanabe Soichiro, Japan.
Tanabe Soichiro of Japan, the 19-year-old, best known for his work on the still rings really, but he's a very nice gymnast on the parallel bars. He was the third strongest in qualification. He just has to hit that handstand in a couple of installments. A little overarch in that position. That was a very polished looking note. Work on the single rail will help that difficulty score. And that dismount was secure looking too. Tanabe Soichiro of Japan. 8.35 execution score in qualification for 14.15 overall. He had a couple of moments here and there where he had to just adjust his body position mid-skill. That was one, for example, but once he got into the handstand position, it looked lovely. That's some difficult work. His dismount was very good. 12.133 for Aneta Holešová. 0.2 for penalty movements outside of the performance space. Levi Jung Rivivar of the United States of America, third strongest in qualification with 13.2, the 16-year-old in her first FIG World Cup event. It's a welcome to international competition to Levi Young Rivivar of the United States of America from Maple Grove in Minnesota, but born in Los Angeles. She was 14th in the all-around competition at the National Championships in August. She loves to dance and has an idiosyncratic style on floor that's very memorable. She engages strongly with the music. She brings a touch of originality to her work that's a very nice thing to see. A little loose in the leg position in the twists, but this is a very assured international debut. Isn't that nicely done? Her execution was really strong in qualification, 8.3. Very interesting young athlete. She's a good drummer, very keen maker of pottery as well. 14.1 for Tanabe Soichiro. Goes into second place. He's down by 500ths from qualification. And that 500ths is the differentiator between him and Hung Yuan-si, who started us off. Haruki Minori of Japan. Second best in qualification with 14.35. He has lovely execution on this apparatus. If he can replicate that from qualification, then he's really in the picture. And that was some tricky work. Not sure he quite came to handstand there. Very good dismount, light touch from Haruki Minori, the 23-year-old. Another excellent rings gymnast, actually. But some good work on the parallel bars from him. Let's have a look back at this display from Haruki Minori of Japan. He took a silver medal on the rings yesterday. It would be interesting to compare this to the 8.55 he produced in qualification, which was the second or joint second highest execution score of any of the qualifiers. It was a good dismount. Now, Levi Young Rivivar, 12.666. She's in second position. Does have the 0.3 penalty for going out of bounds. Haruki Minori, 14.766. He goes into the lead, and what he has done is add a lot of difficulty, 6.4 compared to qualification. I mentioned during the routine there was some very tricky work going on, and it's resulted in a big gain of over half a mark of difficulty. So we now have the second half of the competition about to begin. The gymnasts going through their warm-ups. We have Adam Tobin, Ilya Kovtun, Tiano Diallo and Pavel Karnayenko to take the parallel bars. And in the women's floor competition, Greta Moya, Ada Hautala, Caitlin Yong and Sydney Turner. So we still have 1, 2 and 4 in terms of the highest qualifiers in the women's floor final. And we have 1 and 4 of the men's parallel bars, but one of those, the fourth placed, is Ilya Kovtun. Speaking of which, there he is. He certainly had a challenge laid down though by Haruki Minori. The routine we've just seen from Minori, 1/10 higher than the difficulty score that we saw from Kovtun in qualification, but Kovtun has produced some stellar difficulty in finals over his short career. On the subject of stellar, Greta Moya of Hungary, who's having a very impressive weekend. Winner of 2 bronze medals. We're all going to be keeping an eye on him in the parallel bars final.
The warm-up time is over. Judges on the floor, please call.
We continue with the women's floor final and men's parallel bars competitions at the Arena Savaria in Szombathely,
Találjon az
Hungary.
első versenyző, Mayer Gréta, Magyarország.
Greta Moya of Hungary, very popular young gymnast, performing in front of her home crowd. She's been a medalist on the floor at the Junior European Championships, and she's also won 2 World Cup medals. She really has established herself as one to watch this year, Greta Moya. First year senior. She ended last year with a gold medal winning performance at the Hungarian Junior Masters Championships. And this season, a silver medal on the floor in Varna at the World Challenge Cup, a bronze medal in Koper at the same level. Along with medals, she's won on other apparatuses. She's already taken 2 medals here. Authoritative first tumbling pass. Strong looking pike position, minimal landing adjustment. Twisting and then punching through and following it up with choreography that makes the whole thing look a little more fluid and relating to the music. She's memorable on floor. Meanwhile, we are continuing with the men's parallel bars competition. Adam Tobin of Great Britain concluding his performance. Apologies that we missed the start of that. He was the 6th strongest in qualification.
2018-ban a junior olimpián egyéni összetettben az 5. helyen végzett.
The gymnast who was 5th in the all-around competition at the English Championships earlier this year. We still have 3 to go on each apparatus. And the next to come on the floor will be Ada Hautala of Finland. Now, Greta Moyer scored 13.466 in qualification. She scores 13.033. Execution down by 4/10, but nonetheless she is in the lead.
And the next gymnast on the floor, Ada Hautala, Finnország.
Finland's Ada Hautala, 6th to go in this women's floor final. 12.266 in qualification, but with a 0.3 out of bounds penalty. Finland's Ada Hautala,
Ada Hautala,
18-year-old from Liminka in the west of Finland, a small town of around about 10,000 people. She competed at her 3rd European Championships at senior level in Munich, having made her World Championship debut last year. Very strong double pike, really nice landing. Little attitude, or rather a little oscillation on the wolf turns. I don't know why I said attitude there, it's a completely different skill. My balletic terms all over the place. Now Adam Tobin scores at 13.766 for the routine that we unfortunately didn't really see, but it has him in 4th position.
And the next competitor on the P-bars, Ilya Kovtun, Ukraine.
Ilya Kovtun of Ukraine. 4th strongest in qualification, 14.15. But there's no doubt that this has the potential to win in terms of the difficulty. Let's see what we get in the final. Sharp going into handstand. Single rail work. Lots of strength, really good leg position. Smooth and crisp execution so far. That's nice. It's difficult too, as is that. It's a good display, way better than in qualification from Ilya Kovtun.
Ilya Kovtunt láthatták, aki 2021-ben a Tokiói olimpián egyéni összetettben az
Gymnast
előkelő
who
11.
was the
helyen
all-around
végzett
bronze medalist at
fiatal
last year's World Championships.
2021-ben
Had a tricky time at the European Championships,
harmadik lett, és 2022-ben idén
having the year
korláton
before
második
been
lett
the
az
youngest,
Európa-bajnokságon.
or second youngest ever to win the all-around bronze medal. That work on the single rail requires enormous strength. He's really in control. That from the Diamidov family is difficult gymnastics.
Makuc nevű figurát mutatott be.
Makuc was judged well too.
Ez pedig már a leugrása, dupla zsugorszalagó előre.
Double tuck to finish.
És már is megláthatjuk a finn
Arda
versenyzőt,
Hautala,
a Hautala pontszámát
12.766.
12,766
She's gained 2 tenths of difficulty, goes into the silver medal position behind Greta Moyer, ahead of Levi Jumrivivar, who's occupying fourth place. Natalia Escalera above in third. Now to Caitlin Yong of the USA. Well. Caitlin Yong of the United States of America. It's a very difficult routine, and it is easy to see why there is great excitement about this young athlete who was the all-around champion at the Junior Pan American Championships last year. She also won the all-around at the Junior Pan American Games in Colombia last year after that competition in Guadalajara. So it will be interesting to see how this compares to qualification, where she was the second strongest. She has got some powerful tumbling work. Very polished twist position. Technically impressive work, this, from the 16-year-old from the northern Dallas suburbs in Texas. Ilya Kovtun quite handsomely goes into the lead with a 15.1 score, 8.8 for execution. It's very Ilya Kovtun, isn't it? The final comes along and he produces a 15-plus score. Wonderful. Now to Tiana Diallo, the top performer in qualification, but with a 14.55. We've just seen that number be passed by around half a mark. But the 21-year-old, born in Guinea but grew up in Catalonia, is very nice on this piece. It's very fluid work. Just had to slightly adjust real finesse to his tip-elt, and he dismounts well too. Nice routine from Tierno Diallo of Spain. His execution in qualification was the highest of anyone's. Now, whether he'll be able to keep pace in this final, we'll have to see, but he does a lot right, an awful lot right actually. A little close compared to brushing the rails. It's a particularly nice looking tip-elt skill. With very good toe point coming out of it. Straight into a stable dismount. Caitlin Yong goes into the lead, 13.5. It's that difficulty, 5.6. It is a packed routine.
And the next on the floor, Sydney Turner, Canada.
The final gymnast, Sydney Turner of Canada. 12.7 in qualification. She's had a very good competition. Whatever the final standings in this floor competition, it has been an unqualified success for Sydney Turner at her first World Cup event. Well done to her. She's a very bright individual who is keen to study linguistics and education, wants to be an English teacher, particularly as a foreign language working in Europe. She has some nice tumbling work, lovely form in the air in the twist. Good symmetry in the tuck position as well.
Healthy Me starts today.
Oh, what are you doing? A lemon detox?
Nope.
Is it cabbage soup?
No.
Ovo-lacto-kanganarian.
What?
Is it real food, at least?
It's just light and easy.
What?
Just good food and great results. Light and easy.
Whew. Spicy.
What are you eating, Tim?
Internet.
Right.
Tierno Diallo has gone into the bronze medal position with 1 to go, 14.333. Good execution score. So that means it is Kovton, then Haruki, then Diallo, with 1 to go. Pavel Karnayenko of Great Britain. 13.45 his score in qualification. He needs to add a full mark onto that, and he could potentially get close to it. Just came up short of handstand. A couple of paces, which he'll lose some tense for with the hands. Again, a small reset coming out of his tip hilt, but showing some good strength. Does well to get that back into handstand. All wild though with the legs, unfortunately, and it did seem like that moment was coming. That's a shame. He's done very well in competitions this year. He's the reigning Scottish all-around champion. Had a good Commonwealth Games as well, competing for Scotland, where he was 5th in the all-around competition after being the 9th best in qualification. It's been a tricky routine that for Pavel Karnayenko, who shakes his head. He'll be the first to go back and analyse it and look at what went right and what didn't go so right. His teammate Adam Tobin giving him a pat on the back. So that really does make the medals virtually sure in the parallel bars competition.
Ez pedig a leugrása, sajnos az sem sikerült tökéletesen.
Now the last score to come in the women's floor final. Sydney Turner, 12.9. She's managed to take the bronze medal right at the end. Just comes in ahead of Ada Hautala. So well done to Sydney Turner. That's another medal for her. 3. Pavel Karnayenko, 10.733. And as expected, he finishes well out of contention. Not reflective of what's been a very positive year for him in terms of his results. So we'll bring you the classified results in just a moment.
And now I kindly ask the medal recipients of the men's parallel bar and women's floor final. Please
the final standings in the women's floor competition. The bronze medal to Sydney Turner of Canada, the silver to Greta Moyer of Hungary, and the gold medal to Caitlin Yong of the United States of America. The final standings in the men's parallel bars competition. Bronze to Tieno Diallo of Spain, the silver medal to Haruki Minori of Japan, and the gold to Ilya Kovtun of Ukraine. And we'll have the victory ceremonies for the men's parallel bars and women's floor competitions in just a moment.
medal recipients of the awarding ceremony of women's floor and men's parallel bars final, please line up for the awarding ceremony.
I think they're just trying to locate the medalists at the moment, which is why we have this slight delay. And then we'll bring you the men's horizontal bar final after these two victory ceremonies have taken place.
Talaj döntő eredményét hirdetem. Awarding ceremony of the women's floor final. Az érmek átadására felkérem, medals will be presented by Ms. Donatella Sacchi, President of the Women's Technical Committee of the FIG.
The victory ceremony for the women's floor competition.
12,9 ponttal Sydney Turner, Canada.
The bronze medal to Sydney Turner of Canada, her third medal of this weekend.
Második lett, only second place, 13,33 ponttal Mayer Greta, Magyarország.
Winner of the silver medal, Greta Moyer of Hungary. Another World Cup accolade for her. The second time she's won a silver medal on floor. It's been a very good first senior season for this exciting 16-year-old prospect for the Hungarian team. But really, this one was clear from the moment the routine finished. Caitlin Young of the United States of America with an excellent performance. Such a difficult display and so commanding to secure her maiden World Cup honours. We'll have the national anthem now of the United States of America. More success for this young United States of America squad here in Hungary. The medalists in the women's floor competition at the Szombathely World Challenge Cup.
Congratulations, thank you very much.
And we'll now have the men's parallel bars victory ceremony before concluding our coverage, as is customary with the men's horizontal bar final.
Férfi korlátdöntő eredményét hirdetem. Awarding ceremony of the men's parallel bars final. A díjak átadására felkérem, medals will be presented by Mr. Tamás Kovács, PR Manager of Falco Wood Industry Limited.
The victory ceremony for the men's parallel bars competition.
14,333 ponttal Tierno Diallo,
A first ever World Cup medal for Tierno Diallo of Spain. 3 years after he finished 4th at the Copa World Challenge Cup on parallel bars, he gets that elusive medal. The 21-year-old with a fine performance. And how impressive. Haruki Minori of Japan. What a step up from qualification where he scored 14.35. He added over 4/10 to that mark to take the silver medal. A lot of difficulty in that routine. And Ukraine's Ilya Kovtun, the winner of the gold medal. He was only the 4th strongest in qualification, but you know what? This is a World Cup, and it's Ilya Kovtun, so we best give him the gold medal then. Gold in Cottbus, gold in Doha, gold in Cairo, gold in Baku, gold here. Parallel bars is what he does. A second title of the weekend for Ilya Kovtun of Ukraine. And there they are, the medalists in the men's parallel bars competition in Szombathely. Remarkable to be 19 years old and already have 22 World Cup medals, 11 of them gold. Bordering on the outrageous. He's quite something, is Ilya Kovtun. On the subject of quite something, how about a men's horizontal bar final? Why not? Let's conclude our coverage here in Szombathely. And here are your runners and riders. Isaac Nunez of Mexico, the 5th strongest in qualification. Yoshida Motomu of Japan, the 18-year-old making his senior international debut. Jordan Alexandrov of Bulgaria, a collegiate horizontal bar champion in the United States. Heath Thorpe of Australia, 8th strongest in qualification. Christian Bolage of Hungary, the 4th best in qualification and a Youth Olympic Games medalist. Kip Smith of Australia, silver medalist at the National Championships. Tang Xiaohong of Chinese Taipei, the reigning Asian Games champion on the horizontal bar. Christopher Mezaros of Hungary, who's just won a floor silver medal at the European Championships, his biggest ever international result. The great lineup for this men's horizontal bar final. And what a triumphant thing it is to look at the medalists we've seen across all of the World Cup events this season and to reflect on just how global this sport really is. Look at the lineup of gymnasts, the nations represented just this weekend. Isaac Nunez will get us started. Yoshida Motomu will be an interesting wild card almost in this. He's only 18, an undergraduate at Sendai University, the youngest man in the final, and yet he was the second strongest in qualification. Top qualifier Tang Chia-hung, will see him as the penultimate gymnast in the order. He really does do some lovely work on the apparatus, as does Jordan Alexandrov. He's been a finalist at continental level on the horizontal bar, and when he graduated from the University of California, Berkeley, with media studies as his major, he also left as an NCAA champion. Heath Thorpe of Australia competing in his first ever international horizontal bar final. It's also his first ever World Cup final, full stop. So congratulations to him. He's a lovely gymnast who is best known for his work on floor, where he is not just a strikingly elegant performer, but an innovative one. The start list for the men's horizontal bar competition. And the top performer in qualification, Tang Chia-hung of Chinese Taipei, the King of Cats, as they call him, the reigning Asian Games champion. He's also the reigning World Universities champion. Isaac Nunez of Mexico, the first to go. 22-year-old from the Baja California. He has won a couple of World Cup silver medals, including on the horizontal bar. Starts with the Yamawaki. Big wind up into his Casino. Just had maybe a touch of separation of the legs, but his amplitude was good. Now to, oh, the Coleman was not quite right. So unfortunately the fifth strongest qualifier has exited the apparatus. I'm sure many of you who have been watching Pan American competitions like the Pan American Games for some years will remember his work in Lima in 2019, where he won the parallel bars title. Part of that squad of Mexican gymnasts with such lovely execution. Good height on the catch. It just seemed to stall coming out of the regrasp though. Nice little dance across the bar in the pirouette work. And he twists with authority to conclude the routine. Isaac Nunez of Mexico, regrettably, will find it hard to be in contention after problems with the Coleman, but a lot of it very nice.
Az 5. helyen került be a fináléba. 2019-ben megnyerte a szert a pán-amerikai játékokon.
Well, he really has been something of a new man after shoulder surgery at the end of 2020. 4 years of difficulty that gave him. But naturally, when you have shoulder surgery as an elite athlete, it does take a long time to recuperate from.
és a leugrás, a dupla szuplé egész csavar.
He actually started his gymnastics after having been a footballer. Not a sport that he hugely enjoyed playing. 11.8. Not a score he'll hugely enjoy seeing, but it's more that he's capable of, certainly. Now, what is this young man capable of? We don't really know a great deal about Yoshida Motomu, other than he's well regarded in the Japanese system, regarded well enough to send him to a World Cup event, and that is often half the battle for Japanese men, just making it through to selection. And he was the second best in qualification, the 18-year-old, 13.95. It's a fluid beginning. Very nice looking. Getting a lot of his close control work in early before going for the big release skills. There's his Coleman. That was nice. Sets for a straight Kachev and he's well off. Was always drifting away. It's funny, isn't it? The first skill, the Coleman, the much more complex. And it's the straight Kachev that was his undoing. It's a lot that's promising about him, though. Look at his technique. Really is impressive. That time he gets it with no issues. Winding up for a straddle Kachev. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Good in-bar work. Delicate, graceful. How's his dismount? It's lovely. Oh, that's a peach of a dismount from Yoshida Motomu. Just gorgeous. Oh, and to have come off on that straight Kachev with everything that was before and after it. Well, well, well. Funny old thing sometimes, gymnastics. He'll probably hit that Kachev the next 10 times he tries to do it. Let's go back and enjoy this work from the 18-year-old, the youngest man in the final. Started with the full twisting Kovacs, the Coleman. This was a particular highlight. It's very graceful in that close control work, and doesn't he stick that dismount just beautifully. He's an undergraduate at Sendai University in the northeast of Honshu. His score 13.166. You take away the full mark that he lost for the landing, and that was on the path to being a better performance than qualification. Bulgaria's Jordan Alexandrov, 26-year-old from the northeast of Bulgaria, the settlement of Russe, or Little Vienna as it's often colloquially known, a beautiful place. And he has been a European Championship finalist on the horizontal bar. That was in 2020. Comes into this as the 6th best in qualification. He's very at home on this apparatus. Secure straight Kachev. Straddle Kachev likewise nicely delivered. This is clean work. Lovely. What a dismount that was from Jordan Alexandrov. And a really nice display. Overall, that had a tidiness to it. He will give away a little difficulty compared to some of the competitors that are going to follow, but in terms of the precision of the work, that could be in contention. Really establishes the straddle position in the Kachev well.
Merszini világkupán pedig korláton is nyújtón és bronzérmet tudott elérni.
Good amplitude in his dismount. Form-wise, it's very nice, and there's nothing to take away for replacement on the landing. His father, Dimitar, was in the Bulgarian national team and now coaches. His dad has said that coaching his son is 3 times harder than coaching anyone else, but it's 10 times more enjoyable. An exciting young gymnast coming up next. 13.5 for Jordan Alexandrov. Better than qualification. His execution improves by 1/10 and a half. He goes into the gold medal position.
And the next on the horizontal bar,
A first ever World Cup final for Heath Thorpe of Australia, the 22-year-old. But he's had a very good season, including winning 2 gold medals at the Oceania Championships, where he was a silver medalist on vault as well, and a bronze medalist on this piece. He also won a lot of medals at the national championships. Let's wish him good luck in this final. Some nice original work. He's got to keep the strength. And he's done well. Always get something memorable and original from young Heath Thorpe. Oh, what a nice dismount that was from the youngster. Heath Thorpe, his first ever international horizontal bar final.
Az ausztrál versenyző kiváló összetett tornát.
Splendid work from him.
Bajnokságon egyéni összetettben a 4. helyet érte.
He's been a finalist at home, including the Oceania Championships held on home soil, but this is a new experience for him. And he's given us some memorable work. Good, close control work in the Stolder position. That all looked very secure. He dismounted well too. Very popular gymnast, Heath Thorpe. Something of a cult favourite in the gymnastics community. I have a lot of fans watching this performance. Did well to qualify in 8th position with 13.25. He's starting to become more and more prominent on the international scene as well, which is really exciting. Meanwhile, the warm-ups are happening for the remaining gymnasts. His teammate Kit Smith getting ready. .033 for Heath Thorpe. He goes into the bronze medal position. That's a good outing in his first FIG World Cup final. Well done to him. Top qualifier about to warm up. Tang Jiahu. If you've never seen him before on the horizontal bar, you are probably in for something of a treat. As long as we don't administer the curse of the commentator. He's got an effortless looking quality to much of his work. Has some very polished looking releases and catches. His form is quite exemplary. Christopher Mazaros, the last gymnast to warm up. One of two Hungarians that we're about to see. Be his teammate Christian Balázs, who is the next to compete. And so we head to the last phase of competition this weekend in Szombathely.
Design Furniture's Boxing Day sale has been extended for 1 week only. Don't miss out on 25% off almost everything in-store and online. Save on sofas, tables, chairs, storage and more at Design Furniture. T's and C's apply.
Boy, Stud found your girlfriend.
Brandy brings me out so she can pick up random guys.
Versenyző a nyújtón, Balázs Krisztián, Magyarország.
Christian Balázs. Fourth best in qualification. 20-year-old from Budapest who won a bronze medal at the Youth Olympic Games on the horizontal bar. He also took a bronze medal at the Junior World Championships at home. And then the following year won the Junior European Championship title. So he has pedigree as a young gymnast on this apparatus. Difficult routine as well. It started well, very good. Piked Kachev. Pirouettes with confidence. Good dismount here, and he's very much in the game. He will be after that. Christian Balázs of Hungary. To a real roar from the home crowd at the Arena Savaria in Szombathely. That's a great display from the 20-year-old. He's part of the Ferencváros club.
Krisztián 2018-ban már Európa-bajnokságon második tudott lenni ezen a szeren.
He has 3 World Cup medals, including one won this season on the parallel bars in Baku. So starting with the Coleman, was perfectly fine. Straight Kachev, goes straight into the straddle Kachev. Nice pirouette, really kept the heels glued together and the toes well pointed as he was pirouetting. And he has a small adjustment on the landing. Little step back there, that's all. 13.85 in qualification.
Negyedik helyen került be Krisztián a döntőbe.
Now, has he got himself really in play in this final? .14, the highest score that we saw in qualification. And we still have 3 to come. .14.133 for Christian Balázs. He gains 3/10 of difficulty, his execution much stronger, and he goes into the gold medal position. And that will pressurise Tang Chia-hung. Kip Smith of Australia. silver medalist at the National Championships. 19-year-old. He has a polished style on this piece. Very nice gymnast to watch. Oh, how's he managed to stay on the apparatus? Oh, well, that was a fighting effort from Kip Smith. Thought he was flying out of the building there for a moment, that one-armed giant that was improvised. Well, the undergraduate in engineering and science at Monash University was fighting against gravity for just a moment, and it looked as though he was winning the battle. Glimpses there, though, of what a nice gymnast he is on the horizontal bar. That time he gets his Kovac completed, but he's lost his swing. There'll be quite a few deductions to come in this routine. He got through that routine with some issues, Kip Smith. But again, this is a new experience for him to be competing in a World Cup final. He has competed at the Junior World Championships. He's still not yet 20.
Nagyon nehéz repülőelemet mutatott be Kovács Szaltó nyújtott testtel. Sajnos csak egyik kézzel érte el a vasat. A leugrása pedig neki is dupla szupli egész csavar, kisebb elszökkenéssel.
At the moment it is Christian Balázs, then Jordan Alexandrov, then Yoshida Motomu. 1, 2 and 3 with 13.166 the number required to get onto the podium.
És már is láthatjuk a zsűri értékelését.
It's 11.266 for Kip Smith, and that confirms a medal for Hungary's own Christian Balázs, guaranteed at least a bronze.
Tang Chia-hung, Chinese Taipei.
Guaranteed success. Might get more than that. We've still got one competitor to go. But first, the top qualifier, Tang Chia-hung of Chinese Taipei. 14 in the preliminary round, but he needs more than that now to go into the lead. The reigning World Universities champion, the reigning Asian Games champion, the King of Cats, is a lovely performer on the horizontal bar. Lots of amplitude. Oh, he was wild, though, in that Casina. Well, that has set the cat among the pigeons. The favourite struggling. Christian Balázs now is virtually assured of a silver. And one would suspect Hungary is assured of the title with their second gymnast, the final one to go. That time he gets cleanly through the Casina. Straddle Kachev will link it into the piked Kachev. Now to the Yamawaki. Oh, lovely amplitude. Practically banged his head on the roof. travels so far away from the apparatus as well to dismount nearly from Tang Chia-hung. They'll be looking to iron out the issues with that casino ahead of the World Championships in Liverpool at the end of the month. And we regard him as this great worker on the horizontal bar, which he is, but we must not forget he's one of the top all-around gymnasts in the world. 7th at the Olympic Games. And that was after being 22nd in qualification. It was one of the standout improvements after the preliminary round of the whole Olympic Games in gymnastics. Now, at the moment, it's a score of 13.166 that occupies bronze. That's Yoshida Motomu. Tang scored 14 in qualification. Obviously, he loses the full mark and ends up with 12.5. 6.8 for execution. Christopher Mészáros. The final gymnast to go. Hungary will win the title because the only man that can beat Cristian Balázs is his teammate, who was the 3rd best in qualification. It's been an excellent year for the 20-year-old, winning the silver medal on floor at the European Championships. That's well done. So is that. The Kovac was big. Lovely straight position in that Kachev. Straddle Kachev cleanly established. We've got a display here from Mészáros. He's going for it. Wonderfully done. Christopher Mészáros finishes the weekend of gymnastics in Szombathely in style with that performance, and he might well get onto the podium with it. Balázs 1, Alexandrov 2, Yoshida 3 as things stand. It's been a very uneven horizontal bar final with quite a few gymnasts struggling. There was no real struggle here. Variations of the Kovac skill employed there, the traditional Kovac.
És a leugrás, dupla szuplé, dupla csavarral, gyönyörű leérkezéssel.
A skill, of course, named after a Hungarian gymnast. Kovac won the team bronze medal at the Olympics in 1980. Well, they're all done and dusted. Which means the score's about to come in, and he's done it! 14.166. Gold to Christopher Mészáros of Hungary, just ahead of his teammate Cristian Balázs. And that is his first World Cup title. And it's a Hungary 1 and 2 to conclude the weekend of competition. The Hungarian greats watching on will be thrilled. Well, as Christian Berkey watches on, it's Christian Balázs who's beaten into first place by Christopher Mészáros. And it will be a very happy victory ceremony for the host nation. The classified results in the men's horizontal bar competition. The bronze medal to Bulgaria's Jordan Alexandrov. The silver medal to Christian Balázs of Hungary and his teammate Christopher Mészáros just pipping him to the post.
Ünnepélyes eredményhirdetés következik. Awarding ceremony of the men's horizontal bar final.
And it's now time for the victory ceremony in the men's horizontal bar competition.
By Mr. Szombathely, Deputy Mayor of Szombathely. Nyújtó döntőjében harmadik helyezett, on the third place, 13,5 ponttal, Alexandrov Jordan, Bulgária.
The winner of the bronze medal, Jordan Alexandrov of Bulgaria. First World Cup medal of the season for him.
Második helyezést ért el, on the second place, 14,133 ponttal, Balázs Krisztián, Magyarország.
Christian Balázs of Hungary equals his best ever performance in a World Cup competition. He very nearly won the whole thing too.
És a döntő győztese, winner of the gold medal, 14,166 ponttal, Mészáros Christopher, Magyarország.
But the first gold medal for the host nation in Szombathely is won by Christopher Mészáros, and it's his first ever World Cup triumph. He has had a terrific season too. Well, they've managed to get a gold in the women's events and now a gold in the men's events. A good conclusion for Hungary.
Gratulálunk, congratulations!
The medalists in the men's horizontal bar competition at the FIG World Challenge Cup in Szombathely, Hungary. And it finishes in spectacular fashion for the Hungarian team. Their second gold medal, the first in the men's events.
Szép volt, Kiki, szép volt, Pipi, bravo!
And that brings to a close our coverage at the Arena Savaria in Szombathely, Hungary. October is a busy month. Next weekend it's the Mersin World Challenge Cup, and shortly after that, just a couple of weeks later, the World Championships in Liverpool. Look forward to your company down the road as October continues to throw up more exciting artistic gymnastics action. I've been Ollie Hogben, saying farewell until next we meet.